Rodriguez is my guest today on the show. So I thought her name was Aida, and then I looked at her clip and it said it was Aida. And I thought that was weird because all the Aidas I know is Aida.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in America, but Puerto Rican. And all my friends would call me Aida. And I just I rolled with it.
You were like, all right, fine.
Both of my grandmother's names are Aida. And my grandmother and my mother's mother pulled me to the side and said, hey, that's not your name. That's my name. And you got to make them say it right. And it's like when Eva Mendes, her name is Eva. It's so hard to just walk around telling people, say my name in my native tongue.
So now you're owning it.
Yeah, my grandmother passed away, and you brought this. You know what? It's so funny because I was thinking about this today because people probably think, oh, she's getting a little play now. Now she wants to say her name differently. That's not what it's about. My grandmother passed away, and I was like, I'm gonna honor her. That's her name. That's what she named me, and it's not that hard to say.
It's really not.
I know.
I said Aaliyah's name like Aaliyah for all those years.
Me too.
Her name was Aaliyah.
Yeah.
She never corrected me.
Linda. Oh,
I know.
Rest in peace.
I know, but I wish she would have. Yeah. Because I think in every interview I ever had with her, I said Aaliyah. It's terrible.
It's awkward. It's awkward to tell somebody.
Yeah, right. Especially when you're trying to have a good vibes and whatever. But anyway, it's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me. So happy to be in front of another Puerto Rican woman. That does not happen often, especially in what I do,
I just got back from Puerto Rico yesterday. Last night, I went to all these towns that I had never visited. Every time I go to the same places, right?
Yeah.
I don't really go venture out to places that I'm not affiliated with. Just as natural. I'm only there for a few days, so I go where I know and where people are, right? But this trip, because we were doing these solar installations, I was taken to Vieques and I was taken to Lares and all these places I had never been, and I just have a new love for the island.
It's so beautiful.
I have a newfound different type of love affair now.
Yeah. We're so different there. But y'all heard her? Did y'all hear her? The continent of Africa has Akon and Puerto Rico has Angie Martinez.
Oh, stop it.
That's beautiful.
Stop it.
Beautiful.
No, Akon owns a solar company. I got my hands on a few solar suitcases with the kids from Rutgers, and we went out there and did that.
Dope, though. Africa's a continent. Puerto Rico's a little island. It's all relative.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do it again and do some more.
Man, I sent an airplane over there with stuff. And then I hosted World AIDS Day in Miami, and I met Mayor Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's amazing.
She gave me her number.
Ooh,
and
can we call her now on the air live?
That would be great. No. I got a number. I called her. I'm a comic. I'll call her and be like, what you do? ¿Qué tú haces? But she told me, whenever you send something over there, make sure you contact me and I'll make sure the people get it.
Right.
So I called her and she answered. And I was so impressed.
You're like the fourth person who's told me that about her.
And
that they called and she answered. Yeah. I've heard that so many times about her. But the problem is she's the mayor of San Juan. The problem is the other places. San Juan is actually, it looks beautiful. I drove by, I was like, this is how I remember it.
Yeah.
Past the mall, I mean, there's still, this is damage, but not like when you go up in the mountains and you see that this whole town still with no light and electricity. It's like a whole thing. I mean, but it's just, they still need help. And
I'm going.
It ain't in the news, which is one of the reasons I wanted to go, to remind people, this is still a problem. This is not like, don't just be like, oh, Puerto Rico's fine. It's not fine because they still need a lot of help.
It's going to take years to rebuild,
I agree.
But, it was eye-opening because it reminded people that Puerto Ricans are people of color.
Mm-hmm.
And in the face of what is happening today, a lot of people were reminded that we are people of color, and that's how they treated us. And, that island has to mobilize, and the Puerto Ricans in this country have to mobilize, and we have to vote collectively for the interests of all of our people. We have to stop saying, I made it, you got to make it now. We got to think about ourselves and stop engaging in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Respectability politics.
You're Puerto Rican Dominican too, right?
Yeah, I don't claim that side.
What?
Yeah, no disrespect to my Dominicans, but I didn't grow up.
Wow.
I claim it, but I didn't grow up Dominican.
It's on your Wikipedia, by the way. It only says Dominican on your Wikipedia.
I never deny it because my father is Dominican. So biologically, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, but I did not grow up with my Dominican family. I grew up super Puerto Rican.
Right.
My dad abandoned me and then tried to, come up after he saw me on Last Comic Standing and sent me a message on Facebook. And I'm like, where you been?
Yo, disrespect. It's like, what is wrong with them?
I don't understand.
We probably have very similar backgrounds, you and I. And I also am part Dominican. I don't not claim it. It's just that I'm only a tiny bit. So I don't really.
I mean, I love my Dominican people, not my father, but everybody else. I'm gonna keep it so 100. Like he just didn't do his part. But I have a relationship with my brother. But it's just so funny because culturally, my brother will come visit me. And he'll talk about food or say words. And I'm like, what is that? Because I grew up with my Puerto Rican family, so Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
But I love the Dominican Republic and I love Dominican people.
So you're here performing at where are you?
I'm at the Stand and I'm at the Cellar.
At the
Cellar this weekend, yeah. I feel like I'm the only Puerto Rican woman around there. And me and Cypher, we just...
Like the 2 Puerto Rican comics, that's it?
Yes. So they have more. I'm sure they have more.
You just haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them.
Why is that?
You know what?
Puerto Ricans are funny.
Hilarious.
So why is that?
I don't know. I think that a lot of us don't take the stand-up comedy. I remember my mother telling me, like, you don't want to do that. You ain't going to get nobody to marry you if you're going out there trying to be funny. That's for boys. And I'm like, really? Now she's like, calls me and she's call me to tell me not to do it. Now she calls me. She's like, can you send me some money? So I'm like, I guess it worked out and we didn't need a man, right? Okay.
Okay. I saw too that you did. So I know you did the Shaq. You were in Shaq's. What's the name of his?
The All-Star Comedy Jam.
Thank you, the All-Star Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
You made top 10 in that.
Well, I am the only Latin person to ever tape it. This is the last installment of it. They did 13. Kevin Hart did it. Bill Bellamy did it. A bunch of people did it. I'm the first Latina to ever do it. The 4th woman, but the only Latin person. So I'm really proud of that because I was like,
what's up with the comedy world though? Why are they so behind?
Segregated. It's so interesting. And big ups to the 2 women behind the Shaq show that said, we want to put her on. We want her to be. She has a voice. She has something to say. And it was really an experience. That audience is very intimidating. Like they don't mess around. Yeah, that Kevin Hart attributes his success or his, the big burst into like when he went really viral to Shaq because the Shaq set that he did was the one that like made everybody went crazy about Kevin, and then that was the launch pad for him. So it's a very intimidating platform because everybody's.
Did you kill it?
Oh, I did all right.
Wait, is it out?
It comes out on the 23rd.
The 23rd.
On Showtime, yeah. I did all right. I got a little standing ovation.
A little standing ovation.
Yeah, it was good.
That's amazing.
You know what when I got out there, you'll see it. If you watch it, when you watch it, you'll see that I looked afraid when I got there because I was like,
there's nothing worse than when your comic on stage looks scared because you feel it when you're in the audience. You're like, oh, they not good.
Especially New Yorkers.
Scared.
But then it only took me 10 seconds to remember who I was. And I was like, you've been kidnapped twice.
Have you?
Yes. Your mom's stabbed your father with an ice pick. You ain't got nothing to be scared of. You got this. And I went on stage and I was like, what's good?
Is that your self-motivation speech that you tell yourself?
I have to remind myself all of the things that I've endured. And then I think, what is this? This is not, I'm telling jokes.
This is a joke, literally.
Yeah, I'm telling jokes. I've been through so much that I'm like, I got this. It was cool, though.
Why were you kidnapped twice?
Well, my mother kidnapped me from my father. She changed my name, my identity. My last name is Paradas. She changed everything when she left him, and I grew up without. I didn't find out I was Dominican until later. Like they never even told me. And then my mom was dating a man who was on the FBI's most wanted list. And my grandmother kidnapped me from her. She cut all my hair off. They also changed. I look like a little boy. It's on my Facebook page. I look like Lou Diamond Phillips. It was so bad.
How long did that go on for?
It went on for a few years until the guy got busted by the cops and went to prison. And then I was reunited with my mom.
Oh, my God.
Yes. She hates when I tell that story.
I know, but this is like a movie. It's
the truth, you know?
This is definitely a film.
We all a movie, though. Everybody's a movie. I don't ever think I'm special because then I meet people who got, like, shot or something. And I'm like, you just
got shot in the face 5 times.
Yeah, I'm like, I just got kidnapped. And I came back, you know.
And you were kidnapped by family members, so, you know.
It was traumatic, though, because they took me from my mom. I was here, and my grandmother took me to Chinatown. They cut all my hair off. They put me in this little green suit, these little Bruce Lee shoes. It was so, I can still feel it, like sometimes when I think about it. And my grandmother could have gone to jail. Like they put me on an airplane. They lied about my name. And I didn't see my mom, for 2 years or something. And it was really traumatic for me.
Good Lord, woman.
Yeah.
Do you use this in jokes? Do you
Absolutely.
You do, yes.
That's how I survive.
Is anything sacred?
Yes.
No.
Lots of things are sacred, but not the stuff that, made me,
who you are.
Yeah, absolutely not. And my mom gets upset sometimes. And I'm like, that's what happens.
You want that check, right?
Yeah.
Mama, you gotta let me tell my stories.
Yeah, mama, you gotta, it was, the thing about us is that no matter how traumatic things are, people of color always find the funny because that's how we cope.
Yeah, it's a coping mechanism.
And that's how we snap. And so it was all right. I'm okay.
Dare I ask why your mother stabbed your father?
Okay, so I have a joke about it, and you'll hear it on Showtime. But I had to embellish the joke because the subject matter can be so heavy.
Right.
But he beat her up while she was pregnant and left her for dead in Central Park. She was 8 months pregnant. She went into labor. Prostitutes and junkies took her to the hospital. She had my brother. So then when she had my brother, she had to go see him. You know what I mean? So she went to the hardware store. She picked up an ice pick, went and got a slice. This is me telling her story.
Oh, my
and
God.
Then she went and handled her business.
She never had to go to jail, never got arrested? No, because he didn't press charges.
Because he was a fugitive, so he couldn't.
This is not what I expected. This interview has taken a left type of
No, let's take a ride. Let's get back to
a bizarre, interesting left. I had no idea this was
You see Hollywood, you think that Puerto Ricans aren't interesting? We got interesting stories.
We're totally interesting, by the way. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you that you made it all out of all of that, and you're here, and you're, busting through some ceilings, and
it makes for great comedy. You know, like comedy is. Look, Richard Pryor was raised in a brothel. You know what I'm saying? And that, come on, as a kid to know your mom's is getting smashed, that's traumatic.
Yeah.
But he was able to become an icon in comedy. And that's what, that's what I aspire to be. I want to be able to know people to see us and say, hey, they got stories too. But it's all right. I'm all right.
Comedians usually have
the darkest stories.
Yeah, the darkest stories. Or they have the darkest, personalities when you get to meet them. Some of them.
Yeah, I know. Some of them are not nice people.
I tell you, and this is no disrespect, right? Comedians are normally, you're an exception, rare exception, normally my least favorite people to interview because they don't know how to be
people.
Just regular for a second.
They're always on.
So, I mean, I could, like Dave Chappelle, I could interview all day. There's certain people that could just have conversations and then that's great. And they're funny. Funny's great. But there's certain people who don't know how to just be
people because they
just have a conversation.
They're on all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have a difficult time being who they really are outside of the comedy and the jokes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a clown. Like, dentists don't walk around asking people to open their mouths.
Right.
They're like, you want to see me tell jokes? Come to a show. Pay for it. I'm not going to walk around tap dancing for laughter. But a lot of people are hiding from who they really are. And I can't just have a conversation. It's insulting to sit with somebody and always have a joke every 30 seconds.
But that's probably annoying for comedians too, because then people expect you to be like,
all the time.
Say something funny.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, I get it all the time. People are like, oh, you got to tell me a joke. I'm like, what is a jukebox? Like,
what do you do? Do you have like an on-call joke? No,
I don't do that. I'm always, you want to see me tell jokes? I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm not a jester. Like, you come to the show. Like, what do you do for a living? All right, you're a construction worker? All right, build me a house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Who do you think I am?
Out of here.
Yeah, it's like, but people think like that we're clowns. You don't go to actors and say, hey, do a scene from a movie.
And scene.
Yeah, or you don't walk up to Trey Songz and say, hey, I want you to hit me with a song right now. It's only comedians that people do that to. So, nah, I don't do that.
They do it to singers. We do it to singers and rappers here sometimes.
Yeah, but this is our platform. Right? Coming here to do,
It's true. All right, well, and you have a special coming out, which now I can't wait to see.
I have two.
It's two.
Yeah, I have one on Showtime on the 23rd, and then on the 30th, I'm on HBO Latino with another special. So I'm the only woman on both.
This is two very big deals.
It's really, you know what? I've been working really hard, and it's so funny. I have a joke that went viral, and we were laughing about it because I was like, I've been working, grinding, hitting both coasts, night in, night out. Nobody knows who I am. Snoop Dogg posts my video.
No.
And then Trey Songz posted, and Killer Mike. It goes viral. It hits Facebook. We're like at 11 million hits. And I'm like, all that, and all it took was Snoop to post my joke. All them nights in the comedy club, nothing. It just Snoop woke up one day out of his 70 million posts, because he posts so much, and it just went viral. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful.
That's so great. Good for you,
yeah,
Mama.
He didn't even know who I was.
We just met what was it, last, like 2 weeks ago at the Essence. It was an Essence brunch with a room full of phenomenal women.
Absolutely. I was there actually I went with Tiffany Haddish, because she's a good friend of mine. We are, sisters in this comedy game and outside of it. So I wasn't going. I had a migraine, and she called me in the morning, and she was like, bitch, if you don't get up and let's go, you better be there. And she spoke about me I was in her speech, but I was like, I had a migraine that day. That's why I disappeared. I didn't go for
get
drinks.
migraines, so I know what that is. That is real. But you showed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you know? So you guys were on the circuit together and stuff like that?
Yeah, she's actually like my comedy mentor. She's been doing stand-up twice as long as me. So when people talk about these overnight successes, they don't really know like the blood, sweat, and tears that go into this. And Tiffany like took me under her wing when I started doing stand-up, and always looked out for me. And just, she's my friend. She's not just a comedy, comrade, but she's also my friend. We spend holidays together, birthdays together.
Aww.
Our stories are we have both come from, our mothers both have these turbulent pasts. So
right.
That's my girl.
She did you always know she was gonna, like, did she in early stages, could you see that she had
she was gonna be a star?
That she was gonna be a star?
Absolutely.
Really?
100%. Yeah. She's authentic. And you know what it is that the business goes into cycles, and this is the time for authenticity. This is where people are so drawn to people who are just being real and being.
It makes me so happy.
Me too, because I was gonna give up, and she was like, "No, you can't," because, I'm a little more on the cerebral side when it comes to comedy, and I go out and I tell jokes that some people get really uncomfortable with, because I really like to go for the gut. I opened for Paul Mooney, so there was no way. And Corey Holcomb, like the comedians that took me under their wing, knew that I was like that. They tried to really nourish that. And so I would call her and say, I think I'm too hardcore. And she was like, nope, you got to keep going.
You just got to keep doing you. I always tell people like that. You might not be overnight, but if you stay authentic, sometimes it takes longer, but it lasts longer too. Like, you can't just do what's hot or what you think is going to get you to because it just doesn't work. It's such short term.
No, and it's so important for us, because you can't name a Puerto Rican comedian since Freddie Prinze that reached the heights, and this is the time where I feel like it's important to tell the stories. I'm all about that Black and brown unity and really showing, my Afro-Latinidad that I'm very proud of, and really talking about things that people don't talk about because it makes people uncomfortable. And I love to make people uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
Listen, I did a show yesterday.
I'm worried.
This is great.
What happened yesterday?
No, I did this show. I was at the Cellar where we were at the Village Underground, and I have these new jokes that I'm really excited about, but they make the men really nervous. And I had the ground shaking when I got off stage. A writer for the Hollywood Reporter was like, I have to write a story on you. He was like, it's before you get assassinated.
He said you were going to get assassinated.
He was like, you going in. And I was like, I'm always going. That's, my heroes are George Carlin and Lenny Bruce, people that really made people uncomfortable. We got to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
so it's fun.
I'm surprised the Beehive hasn't come for your neck yet.
Because of the Beyonce. I got death threats.
You did?
When that video first came out. Yeah, but the real people who love...
Ada had the audacity to say...
Listen, I love Beyonce.
But you said in the special, I don't like Beyonce.
Yeah, but then when you hear why...
No, I know, it's funny.
Right, you know what I mean?
It is funny.
But I was like, it's not really that I don't like Beyonce. I think I met Beyonce before Beyonce was a star. She lived with my friend for a year. She was in a group called the Dolls. That was before they became...
Was she 12?
Yeah, they were young. That was before they became Destiny's Child.
Really?
And and I saw that girl, and I said, that girl is going to be a star. Like, she's always had this thing. But I ran into her later, and I had my son. I had a baby when I was young, and I had my baby everywhere with me because my mom was like, "You got it. You did it. Now that's yours. I'm not doing that. I'm not fixing it." And the first thing that Beyonce asked me about when I saw her, I would remember Usher was a big star, and I went to this party with Usher. And Beyonce, they were Destiny's Child. Now, she came up to me and she said, "You cut your hair off," because I cut all my hair off. And she was like, "Where's the baby?" And I've always loved her for that. So I don't hate Beyonce. And for the record, when I talk about Jay-Z being ugly, which is what people get really uncomfortable about, I listen, you got to punch up. You can't punch down. Like, we all know, I don't think Jay-Z is an ugly dude, right? I think Jay-Z is any other dude. But I will say that if Jay-Z worked at the grocery store, people would not walk around saying, "Oh my God, I believe Beyonce loves Jay-Z."
Of course she does.
Right. But I don't think all the rest of these broads who are always like, "Oh, Jay-Z got swagger." I'm like, you're negotiable. Because if Jay-Z worked at the grocery store, you wouldn't look at Jay-Z. And that's the wrong message to send young women. And that was what that joke was about.
Right.
Because Jay-Z ain't worried about a single broke comic lady that's talking single mom.
But you know what happens once you start getting bigger, those jokes, they start having more weight.
No, I know.
Right?
Somebody threw it in my face yesterday, and I was like, first listen to the joke before you talk about it, because I'm not even talking about Beyonce.
Yeah, no, the joke was that Beyonce was disrespected. Well, not disrespected, but like was making fun of the single girls.
Yeah, she was married, talking about single ladies clap your hands, and I'm like, if all the single ladies clap their hands, the earth would cave in. It's an epidemic, And so that became, she doesn't like Beyonce, but it's, of course, we live in the outrage era. I'm good. I don't apologize for anything.
Right.
The only person I would ever apologize to for that joke would be Jay-Z if it made him feel bad, because I don't want to make anybody feel bad. But I'm not apologizing to society because I have a point of view about prostitution, because that's what it is in essence. A bunch of chicks that are like, you ever hear, you see the women, you're like, he got on a Rolex, he just stepped out of a Bentley. Something about him, the ends, the watch, his Rolex is sweeping, not ticking. You think we don't know what's going on? He got swagger. There's an essence about him. Bitch, you trying to get your rent paid? Stop. And that we got to be honest about that. Now we call men on their stuff. We got to call women too, right? So I just think that's what that joke is about. Beyonce and Jay-Z ain't thinking about me.
No, but the Beehive is very sensitive.
But the Beehive knows what I'm talking about.
No, 100%.
They got to be real about it. If you got a daughter, you got to be, you got to learn. There's a lot of good working men out here, and you want to marry this athlete that's going to have you on Bossip looking bad.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, come on, chick. Like, go get you a good working, hard working man and stop with that.
But that has to be a thing too, right? As your popularity grows, like there's more weight to it, right?
Absolutely.
If you're like some unknown comedian in some small, you could kind of say
whatever you want,
anything. But then, so does that change? Does it make you think about things twice, or you're like, no? Or does it?
What I think about is being thoughtful about what I'm saying and meaning what I say, and not trying to say things just for the sake of shock value, which I think a lot of comedians do.
Right.
They want to trend on Twitter. I stand by what I say because I'm not mean-spirited. And even though some of my things seem a little bit hardcore, they come from the best place because I really want to be funny and have a message, because I think a lot of people are funny without saying nothing. And specifically right now, our people need a voice. So I think, I go out there and I say the things that are uncomfortable, but I know how to write those jokes. And I sit down and I think about them. And, sometimes people walk out. I had these 3 ladies walk out about an abortion joke that I did. And she got weird, and it was because, I was a teenage pregnancy case, and my kids are older now, and all my friends are now starting to have babies. And one of my girlfriends was like, hey, if you got pregnant right now, what would you do? And I was like, I would live tweet my abortion. And these 3 women got up and just stormed out of the club. And I was like, I'm talking about it was just the expression of how much I wouldn't want to be pregnant right now, right? But it was people are so raw and so they're so sensitive to what everybody else is saying. But if you put a microphone in everybody else's house, I guarantee you that outrage will go away. Because all of us think things that are uncomfortable and inappropriate.
It's a hard time for comedians right now.
I'm not worried though.
Clearly.
I'm not. I'm never apologizing for anything that I said, because I feel like, it's somebody has to say it. And if you start policing comedians, it's over. If comedians can't tell the jokes and talk about the things that are uncomfortable to make people think about things, then we're done. If the comics are going to be, that's why Dave Chappelle cannot apologize,
and he shouldn't. And he's my favorite.
Yeah, he won't.
Yeah. Ida, I can't wait to see the specials.
Me too. I saw one. I'm waiting to see the other one. editing sometimes have you out there.
Oh, is that scary? Because you don't know what they're going to cut because you don't have control of that, right?
No. And sometimes they'll cut around a joke or they'll move a joke around and because they don't know what's going on. They don't know that there's a byline or whatever. But I saw one and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm excited. So it's 2 Fridays in a row.
Remind everybody where they can.
So Showtime, it's March 23rd. So go ahead and get that subscription, watch it, and then when the free team runs out, you could do your thing. And then I know what it is. Everybody gets their free subscription. Watch it and then go ahead. And then on the 30th, HBO Latino. And it's going to be on all the HBO platforms on the app. So I'm really happy about that.
So dope.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you for not being a wet comedian interview today.
No, thank you for having me. And hey, man, I'm proud of you, man.
I'm proud of you,
You
too.
blazed the path for so many of us. And we have to have those positive role models. So
we met we were in, by the way, we're in LA, which is like not our natural territory, and at a very LA Hollywood type of, and we immediately were like, hey,
found the Puerto Ricans.
Hey. And then we took a big picture with a bunch of other Puerto Ricans that happened to be there.
Yeah,
it was a fun day. It was a really inspirational day too.
Mimi Valdez brings people together.
Mimi's amazing. Shout out to Mimi. Rosario Dawson was there. Shout out to her.
Yeah. And you know what? Mimi's movie comes out the same day as my special. So, but they're both streaming, so you can watch them.
Roxanne. Yeah. I'm really excited about. I told Mimi that too. I think Roxanne movie is so important because there are no stories, hip hop stories, about women.
Well, hip hop women are the ones who raised me because I didn't have female comedians, specifically Latinas, like the real Roxanne Shante, Miss Melody. Like that's what I Light. Like now I see Light in her dresses, and I'm like. The other day, I'm always telling her corny stuff. Every time I see her, I'm like, I cram to understand why you have that dress. And I'm like, why? Wow. I like to mess with her. Why are you wearing makeup?
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's so because that's my girl. But that's what we had to look. And comedians love hip hop.
Yeah, of course. It's from the same
influence.
It's from the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really happy for you. I can't wait to see the specials.
Thank you. I appreciate. I'm happy for you too.
Everybody can see the specials, and then this weekend, if you happen to be in New York,
I'm at the Stand all weekend long, and at the Cellar. And if you go online, the Cellar sells out pretty much, but the Stand, the Stand sold out too. But Angie Martinez can't come to the show.
I'm coming. That's it. I'm coming. Sold. Aida Rodriguez, everybody.
Thank you.
Yay! It's 515-1.